In a realm where history and legends intertwine, a captivating narrative unfolds. Join us on a thrilling mission as we delve deep into the ancient annals, seeking to unravel a mystery that spans centuries. Brace yourself for a revelation that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the great rulers of Egypt and Israel, as you get ready to embark on an extraordinary journey to uncover the enigmatic connection between Pharaoh Psusennes II and the legendary King David. Are you ready to explore the hidden corridors of history and unlock the truth? Unraveling the mystical connection, King David, Pharaoh Psusennes II, and the Star of David. Psusennes II's official title was Pa, meaning my, Siba, meaning star, Ka, meaning rises, shines, Nors, or meaning his, Nuit, meaning city. It's interesting to note that both Pharaoh Psusennes and King David were closely associated with a star and a city. It is indeed perplexing how the recorders could have mistaken the intricate Egyptian name Pa Siba Kanenwit with David when comparing Psusennes II to King David. While it is possible that David is a shortened nickname, it is more likely that the Tanakh scribes were diligent in their efforts to accurately preserve the true identity of the person they were writing about. The nickname David may have been derived from the Egyptian star glyph, often pronounced as Siba, which is also utilized for the Queen of Sheba. However, it is reasonable to assume that the scribes had the Egyptian word Jwat in mind when they translated the name to Judaic. The term Jwat specifically refers to the morning star, which is commonly associated with the planet Venus. Moreover, it can also denote either the land of the dead or a pillar of the sky, subtly alluding to one of the four mountains or pillars that hold up the heavens. Essentially, Jwat can be compared to a pyramid, such as those found at Giza or Dashur, and therefore it can also represent pyramids just like Siba does. This is likely because the three pyramids located at Giza were believed to symbolize stars, particularly the belt stars of Orion. David, a name with ancient origins, has connections to both the underworld in Egyptian mythology and the star of Venus. The name is spelled with four consonants, Daleth, Waw, Yod, Daleth, and is pronounced David. However, there has been a long-standing error in the pronunciation of King David's Hebrew name. The Hebrew name for King David was actually Duad, with the consonant being interchangeable with both U and V. This suggests that the Hebrew name Duad for King David was derived from the Egyptian word Jwat. Interestingly, there may have been a connection between King David and the Egyptian Pharaoh Psusennes II, who was also associated with a city and a star. The pharaoh's short name, Pa Siba, meaning my star, could also be called Pa Duat, meaning my star. This is believed to be the origin of the Star of David, which represents the Star of Duad. In summary, the name David has ancient significance with ties to both Egyptian mythology and astronomy. The true Hebrew name for King David was Duad, derived from the Egyptian word Jwat. And the Star of David represents the star of King Duad and his connection to the Pharaoh Psusennes II. Is the name enough to solidify that we found the answer? Must we go any further? Let's take a look at the family. The enigmatic connection, Matkari Mutamhat and Maka Tamar II. What was the connection between these two daughters, despite their complicated family histories? One was born to an Egyptian pharaoh, and the other to an Israelite king, making it seem unlikely that they shared any similarities. However, they had more in common than expected. starting with their names. The daughter of Psusennes II was named Monarchy, while the daughter of King David was named Maka Tamar II, not to be confused with another Maka Tamar mentioned by Josephus. Surprisingly, these two princesses from Egypt and Judeo-Israel had names that were almost identical. The translation of these names reveal even more connections and questions. The daughters of an Egyptian pharaoh and an Israelite king, Monarchy and Maka Tamar II, respectively, shared not only complicated family histories, but also striking similarities in their names. Despite being born into vastly different circumstances, the translations of their names reveal intriguing connections between the princesses and raise thought-provoking questions. The name Monarchy has a deep-rooted history in Egypt. It was used by Hatshepsut, a female pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, upon her ascension to the throne. The name is comprised of 3 syllables, Mat, Ka, and Ra. The term Mat represents the seated goddess glyph and refers to truth and justice. The second syllable Ka is derived from the 2 arms glyph and may signify soul, name, offering, or sacrifice. The last syllable Ra is simply the god name Ra. The name can be translated in multiple ways, but all centered around praising the god. The most popular interpretation of Monarchy is truth and justice are the soul of Ra. This suggests that the goddess of Mot was Ra's companion and served as a role model for the priestesses known as God's wife. The Monarchies and Makas were both God's wives and were strongly associated with the goddess Mot. Another interesting name is Mutamat, which was first used in the 21st dynasty and has a unique title. The Maka Tamar queens had Egyptian alter egos known as the Makari Mutamat queens. The word Makari can be separated into 3 syllables, Mat, Ka, and Ra. This translates to Mat is the soul of Ra, or truth and justice are the soul of Ra in English. The Maka Tamars were strongly linked to the goddess Mat, similar to the Meshwesh, wisdom of King Solomon. King Solomon's proverbs are not just wise sayings, but also offer practical advice that aligns with modern common law. In essence, his teachings on wisdom are synonymous with our understanding of truth and justice. It's worth noting that the biblical concept of wisdom bears striking resemblance to the Egyptian principle of Mot. Wisdom of Solomon in the biblical Apocrypha, which states, "Her I loved and sought out from my youth, and I sought to take her for my bride. And I became enamored by her beauty. She glorifies her noble burthen that is given her to live with God. And the sovereign Lord of all loved her, for she is initiated into the knowledge of God. But if riches are a desired possession in life, what is richer than wisdom? She knows the things of old and divines the things to come. She understands subtleties of speech and meanings of esoteric sayings. She foresees signs and wonders and issues of seasons and times. Because of her I shall have glory among the multitudes. Because of her I shall have immortality. All things that are either secret or manifest I learned, for she that is the artificer of all things taught to me, even wisdom." This particular biblical monologue is open to multiple interpretations, as is often the case. It can be seen as referencing both wisdom and Solomon's wife, Maka Tamar II. Interestingly, the use of feminine terms to describe wisdom and the blurred lines between wisdom and wife suggests that Maka Tammuz II played an important role in Solomon's wisdom. Line 4 solidifies the fact that this wife was indeed a Maka Tammuz, who held a position similar to God's wife. Additionally, the verse could be interpreted as referring to the Egyptian goddess Mot, who was believed to be embodied by Queen Maka Tammuz due to the Mot glyph in her name. The ambiguity in this passage underscores the important priestly role of the Maka Tammuz. It is also worth noting that King Solomon's Judean book discusses the attributes of the Egyptian goddess Mot, further demonstrating the close association between the United Monarchy and Egyptian culture. The various connections, the daughters, the Egyptian and Judaic names, and the concepts and influence of wisdom. Have we figured it out? Or are we closer to figuring out if these two men, Pharaoh Psusennes II and King David, were one in the same? Let us know what you think. Until next time.